So to start this video, I'm going to show an article that came up in my newsfeed recently. This is from the East London Advertiser talking about how thousands of TV licence dodgers got a knock on the door in East London. At the beginning of the article, we have this in no way staged photograph of a TV licensing goon looking very happy as he strategically poses in front of a TV licensing van. Presumably he's so happy because he's thinking about the £20 commission and what he's going to spend it on. Underneath it says that 7,300 households have been caught without a TV licence across East London in the past 12 months. Next we have a picture of a man from Tracy Island pointing a spike mic at those evil TV licence dodgers' houses, trying to pick up a connection to the episode of Columbo that they are almost undoubtedly watching. And here I thought those vans didn't really exist. Don't I feel foolish? But the real question is, if they actually do work, why do the TV licence enforcers, as they like to call themselves, need to knock on anybody's door? Surely they must already know if the residents inside are watching television. So the article goes on to give details of how many people were caught for evasion, with, as usual, no mention of how many people were approached who were legally licence-free as they didn't watch television. Interestingly, it states that the most honest areas were the City of Westminster, Camden, Richmond and the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, each with fewer than 300 dodgers. The implication being that people who didn't have licences were automatically not honest. Again, no mention of the fact that some people may not have licences because they do not need them. So this is going to be a video about why you're a dirty rotten liar if you don't watch live TV and refuse to pay to do so because you're not doing so, but nobody wants to believe that because, come on, who can live without TV? But really these days who can't? As much as some people think not using, and therefore not paying for, live broadcasts and iPlayer is not realistically achievable, the reality is that with the surge of accessibility made possible by the internet, it's easier than ever to be legally licence free, and more people are choosing to do just that. Different people have different reasons, of course. Some people resent the licence fee and don't want to pay it. Some people, thanks to difficult economic times, just can't justify the cost for something that isn't an essential service. Because despite how some people think, not everybody feels like live television is something they simply must have. For some, and I include myself in this category, television became less and less interesting until they realised one day they were paying for a licence to do something they were no longer interested in doing. The TV licence became like that gym membership that you took out a couple of months ago. Went once, lost interest but forgot to cancel the direct debit and will spend the next few years paying for despite never visiting. But unlike the TV licence, when you finally get round to cancelling, they won't come round to your house demanding to do a search to make sure you don't have a secret weight bench you never told them about. But despite the increasing popularity of catch-up services, excluding iPlayer, streaming services and YouTube, some people still think it isn't possible to lead a fulfilling life if you don't watch television as it is broadcast. And therefore those of us who don't, and say that we don't, must be lying and secretly watching whilst they pick up the tab. I'm lucky enough, if you can call it that most people I know are aware that I'm a bit eccentric and see me most of the time with my nose buried in a book, so as not to find it implausible that when I return home I pretty much do the same thing. The fact that if I do watch anything on a screen, it's mostly YouTube, doesn't really come as a surprise to them. But I have noticed, particularly watching other people's videos on the subject and reading articles, that the comments section nearly always contains people who are convinced that people who say they don't watch are lying, and they feel cheated. They feel that they are paying for a service that others are getting for free, regardless of whether the person or people in question are really using it. This thought process nearly always degenerates to someone saying how fantastic the BBC is, something I'm not interested in trying to refute as it's subjective, so the person writing may well be telling the truth, but it's a personal truth, one that only reflects the preference of the person saying it. Also, I want to point out that I'm not singling BBC out for programme quality here either, because I don't watch any of the other channels either, so I'm not pro-ITV but anti-BBC. I'm simply not interested in any of them anymore. But say that in the comments section and you get questions like, how do you know it's rubbish if you don't watch it? Aha, you're lying! Not to say that I dismiss all programmes on TV as rubbish. There were some that I did used to enjoy watching. It's become like anything else for me, that you prioritise what is important for you and inevitably some things will be sacrificed. Television was something I willingly gave up because there were just other things I wanted to do more. But I do see people being asked the how do you know this question, and it strikes me as a bit strange. It's as though people think that if you decide to stop paying for a television licence, someone will come round with one of those memory wiping things from Men in Black and erase all your knowledge of any television show you watched back when you were licensed. As far as I know, that doesn't happen. But then again, what would I know? If they really do that, I don't suppose I'd remember it, would I?